There's going to be a lot of thought leaders that may dismiss Geo-Rank. It's because they haven't found an economical way to display all the different ranks for the different parts of the country. So they have no real incentive to, get behind it.
All right. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of season 2 of the Amazon Strategy Show. My name's Ben. I'm your host, and this is the show that is all strategy, no hacks, no silver bullets, no magic pills, but just real practical strategy for Amazon sellers. All right. I just finished an awesome episode with Eddie Wheeler of Guava Listings and Geo-Rank. Today, we focused a lot on this really cool new solution that they've developed with Geo-Rank, which is actually going to allow Amazon sellers to find out where buyers are coming from in terms of geography and all of the kind of cool opportunities that opens up to you as a brand owner or seller. So things like being able to then see, oh, I'm selling more products in this state, and then utilize that information to make informed decisions. So there's a lot of really cool things going on, and this is a brand new service that they have coming out sometime within the next month or two. So we're going to dive right in. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions, and without further ado, let's get into it. So today we have the pleasure of being joined by one of my good buddies, Eddie. Eddie's here from both Guava Listings, and today he's got a really exciting new product or service to actually talk about. So real quick, Eddie, I'm going to read in with your bio here. So Eddie's got two big passions in life, travel and entrepreneurship. I share both of those, so love that. Over the past few years, he's lived all over the world while running Guava Listings, and he helps Amazon sellers with all kinds of things: organic traffic through ongoing SEO, higher click-through rates, main images that stand out, higher conversion rates through emotion-driving listings. But most recently, he's dove into the world of Geo-Rank. So we're going to hear all about that today to help your listings rank high nationwide instead of just in certain areas. So Eddie, welcome to the Amazon Strategy Show. Thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Whereabouts in the world are you right now? I know you're into travel. We talked about it a little bit, but
Yeah. So I am currently in Medellin, Colombia, and I haven't lived in the US for the last 6 years.
Nice.
I was in Vietnam for a while, Thailand, where you are now, Mexico, and now here in Colombia.
Love it. So are you planning to stay there for a while, or do you think that you're going to potentially move in? Do you normally try to do like a year at a time in places, or what's kind of
at least like 5 to 6 months in each place? Because if you move around too much, there's people who do the same type of thing, but they're moving every month or two. I find it's not good for the routine and productivity to be moving around that much. So yeah, I'll be here for definitely a few more months, and then we'll see from there.
Nice. It's an exciting part of the journey. And it's funny too, I met up with one of our previous guests, Vance Lee, who does a bunch in kind of the crowdfunding world. And he's been living here in Chiang Mai, which is where I am for, I think now coming up on a year. And we had the exact same conversation. It's like all of the seasoned digital nomads they're like, oh, I don't go anywhere for a month at a time. It's always like 6 months or a year now. First, I've just started. So for me, it's like, oh, a month is so long. I'm used to like the traditional American, like 1 week at a time. So for me, it's a very nice change of pace. Well, anyway, that's awesome. So I want to take it back. Kind of the question I ask everyone is to kind of tell us a little bit about how your journey into this Amazon or e-commerce world actually started. So I'm wondering if we can kind of go back to that early day, maybe where you made your first sale, or just how you found this whole space.
Yeah. So it was while I was teaching English in Vietnam. That's how I originally started living and traveling abroad. And but I didn't want to be an English teacher forever. Just, some people, it's their passion, just wasn't something I wanted to keep doing. So I was but the good thing about teaching English in Vietnam is that you can pretty much just do part-time hours and still get a good salary, save some money, everything like that. So whilst in my spare time, I did a few different things, but eventually landed on Amazon FBA, just through YouTube videos and the internet. Launched my first product, totally failed, lost a bunch of money. Launched a second product, which did well, but I think in the beginning of my journey, I didn't have any sense of really what kind of capital was actually needed to launch and then actually keep sustaining it. So sure. My second product did make money, but in that, while I was doing the second product, I realized hey, I'm really good at writing, marketing. I have kind of a natural affinity for those things. So, and I know all those things about Amazon SEO. So I'll become an Amazon SEO copywriter, freelancer. So that's what I did. That got me away from English teaching. So I was super happy with that. And then still living in Vietnam, and eventually like just got to the point where I had so many clients that the next logical step was to create an agency, Guava Listings, and yeah, ever since then, yeah, just been helping people optimize their listings for both SEO, CTR increases and CVR increases.
Nice. I'm curious. Can you tell us what your first product was? It's since
Was,
I
yeah,
don't want
yeah,
to ask
yeah.
what your second one was, since I know you said it actually went well. But can
Yeah,
you tell us
yeah.
about your failed product?
Yeah, it was artificial palm leaves. And
Interesting.
like yeah, like the course I was taking on it about Amazon FBA, like the numbers all kind of made sense, but
Yeah.
it wasn't a very like it was only priced at like $11 or $12, and it was the exact same as all the other ones.
Mm,
So it was really
yeah.
just yeah, it was just riddled with mistakes trying to launch that.
I did the
So
exact same thing. So I think when I first started in kind of the e-commerce world, I always say on the show kind of this example, but my first product ever, which I actually have one on this laptop still, was a webcam cover. And when I looked at it, it was right coming up in kind of the trending stuff, and there were not that many
yeah,
competitors, so it was like a 10 out of 10 opportunity. By the time I ordered my first 500 units and they landed in the FBA warehouses, it was like a 2 out of 10. It was like just one, and it was also like a 6.99 product, so it was just like a
yeah.
total flop, so I've been there too. But it's always fun to like hear about how people first got started, so love that. I kind of want to dive into, obviously we can talk about Guava listings, but I actually want to talk about Geo-Rank because I know this is a
Yeah.
newer solution for you guys, but also it's a very unique solution in the space. And so I guess just kind of the basics. Can you tell us like, what exactly Geo-Rank actually is?
Yeah. So, kind of my big tagline with this is that you've been lied to about keyword ranking, right? So, all the major tools with their keyword trackers, they're only showing you one rank, right? But that's just simply not true. There's actually 1,100 different micro markets in the US where your product could be ranked differently depending on where it is in the US. So you could be ranked, let's say, you're selling this white water bottle. The main keyword is white water bottle, and you might be ranked 2 in Miami. And one of the keyword trackers might be showing you ranked 2, but that's only in possibly only one location. You could be 27 in LA. You could be 100 in New York. So you're not really going to be getting any organic sales for white water bottle in LA or New York, which is a problem, right? You're missing out on tons of sales, and all this while you think you're ranked number 2, you think you're doing great, but actually it could obviously be in more than one location that you rank number 2 or number 1 or whatever. But if you're lacking, especially in these big population areas, you're missing out on potentially thousands of sales each month.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I remember Amazon's obviously changed quite a bit. But in my days working for kind of the agency world, we would always check our clients, product listings, right? As any good account manager should be doing. And if you put in zip codes in different parts of the US, you start to see exactly what you're talking about. Some of the ranking stuff starts getting a little wonky, or you see just, the other side of the coin is you can see very clearly if I check my product using a New York zip code, and then I maybe go and check using a California zip code, you can see that the shipping times on the listing are completely different. So you obviously know that Amazon has your product closer to maybe the West Coast and hasn't distributed it, which of course then is going to affect, if you have a slower delivery time, obviously your conversion rates are probably going to be worse in that side of the country, or that micro region, as you said. So that totally makes sense from that perspective. The second piece I was going to say, and I don't know how much you can tell us about like the tech stack that you have, but I remember back years ago when Amazon still gave us a lot of information. Like I could go and look at through my orders, FBA or FBM. Obviously, you have shipping information, but even the FBA orders, you used to be able to go and actually look through, and it would show progressively less information over the years. But you used to be able to see the city, the state, the zip code, and have some of that geo information. I don't know if there was a report you could export that on. I think there was. But now they've kind of done away with that. So I know it's become a very challenging thing for the average seller to be able to just go and log into their account and do on their own. I don't know if you could tell us any of your guys' secret sauce there, but obviously you guys have figured out a solution to kind of give us some of that information again as sellers. what can you, I guess, like actually do with that information? Like, what are some examples?
Yeah, so yeah, the tracking tool that's going to be releasing very soon. I mean, this is being recorded in early November 2023. It'll be released fairly shortly, hopefully by the end of the year, just kind of fixing some bugs and stuff. But yeah, so it'll show you where your products are ranking nationwide. So it gives you, and there's a few different views, of course, that help you kind of like slice and dice the data and get an idea, right? There's a view that kind of shows like the map of the US and like different little bubbles of where you are, what your ranks are for that keyword. And there are other various views that kind of help you there's a view that gives you like the range, right? So if you're trying to rank for white water bottle, it'll give you like, hey, like for white water bottle, actually you're doing really good. You are your range is 1 through 10 across the whole country, right? So like that's probably not going to need much more work. But let's say like water bottle for hiking is another one of your target keywords, let's say. And actually there's a range of 3 to 107, which we've seen, right? So like, okay, now you got to figure out, okay, where am I, and it could be something where like you're focusing on like the ones that are like more mid-range, like let's say that, you look in Texas and for whatever reason you are ranked, 20 to 40 through all the different places in Texas. Well, now you can say, okay, I want to try to get Texas to obviously that 1 through 5, 1 through 10 range. And so what you could do now that you have the data, right? You can't do anything if you don't have the data, but now that you have the data, okay, we need to focus on Texas and we need to focus on New York. So what you can do is geo-target your marketing campaigns. Now, before anyone says anything, yes, like you cannot geo-target with Amazon PPC at the moment, right? Hopefully that's something that will change in the future, but pretty much every other PPC platform allows you to geo-target, locations, right? So you can target people in Dallas. So if you run a Facebook ad or a Google ad or TikTok, Pinterest, whatever that you were doing, anything that you were doing with outside traffic before, it still applies and it can still help you rank. So it's just kind of like whatever your preferred method is, it still works, but it's just targeting it to a specific location. And so what that's going to do, right, is so essentially like the reason that these ranks are showing differently is based on inventory levels, right? Because Amazon wants to get it to the customer quickly and as cheaply as possible for them. So it's kind of like a chicken and egg thing, right? If there's, for whatever reason, let's say, and this isn't as applicable when you're launching necessarily, right? It's like usually for a product that's already been selling a bit. For whatever reason, let's say that there was just more demand in general for your white water bottle in Miami. So Amazon sent a bunch of inventory there, and because it's going to get there to the customer within a day, and it's cheaper for them, your product will be higher in the keyword ranks there. But for whatever reason in Texas, there wasn't as much generated demand. So Amazon says, okay, this product isn't as popular in Texas. We're not going to have that much inventory there. And then, but if you can generate the demand, then whatever algorithms they're using for their inventory, like, oh, okay, we need to send more inventory to Texas. And then once the inventory is there, and so it's just kind of like over time kind of thing. So that's right. If you are, I mean, there's two ways to do that, right? If you are just trying to rank your product better in Texas in general, you can just do like a Facebook ad or whatever to write directly to the listing. Now that's going to be a third order impact because it didn't ranking impact because it didn't originate on Amazon. Now, of course, I'm not necessarily advocating this, but if you still do search, find, buy type of things, I'm not, again, this is not me telling you to do this, right? Because it is very gray area. However, if it is something that you are risking, right, or willing to risk, if you can rank, you can do a search, find, buy, you can run those Facebook through a Facebook ad in that location, and then you're going to get a first order ranking impact, right, for whatever keyword it is. Now, again.
Can I just for the sake of, or the audience's sake, search find buy like is a strategy that essentially are you using a deep, I think they call it a deep link. So it's like the link that you're sending the traffic to would have essentially go directly to a specific search term. So you can then in theory game Amazon system to start driving traffic to, like, let's say one of your top search terms specifically, which pushes you up in the ranking for that specific search term, which
Yeah, I think
is that right? Is that what it is? I
I
haven't
think that's what
personally done
people
it.
used to. Yeah, that's I think that was like using hyperlinks. I don't think that actually really works anymore. I'm not an
Yeah.
expert on that. It's just like, a marketing method that I'm familiar with. And I think it's more of like, running it like where you are prompting the person to go type in the keyword in Amazon, find you, and then they get a rebate, and then they get a rebate. Again, like it's definitely not, oh, I mean, I think it's beyond gray area. Yeah. Especially now. And I'm not advocating that, right? That's obviously a personal risk, but that you would get a first order, that's what's gonna, if you're on page 100 people, or not ranked 100, and people start buying it directly, right? That could launch you up to page one. For the other one, for like the more safer method of just doing definitely totally white hat, of just, running a Facebook ad, going directly to your ASIN, but making sure that it's like, let's say just Dallas, right? For the Dallas area. And a bunch of people start buying it, right? Your keywords are gonna, like, all the keywords are gonna have, less than it would be if somebody directly typed it in Amazon, but it's gonna start raising them up. And then of course, because there's more inventory now in Dallas, after a little bit of time, right? Just naturally your products are going to start ranking better because now they can send it to people in Dallas within one day and cheaply and everything like that. Yeah.
Well, I feel like there's so many like interesting ways that you can utilize that information, right? I mean, the obvious one is obviously exactly what you said. Like if you know that I mean, there's a couple obvious ones, right? If you know, oh, Texas in general, my product sells better, then, maybe you want to go and run some external traffic to drive even more, juice into Texas.
Yeah.
Or conversely, you might want to say, hey, I want to work on improving my other places that are not doing as well. So there's that kind of side. The other thing I was thinking is, I don't know how, if this is I guess, is Geo-Rank just going to be for FBA related order data, or FBM? I would assume is actually probably the easier one to pull the data on because you have the customers, information. So it's for both, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely use it for both. I think for FBM, I'm not sure because like it's not
It's not stored in Amazon's warehouses, or yeah. Because the reason I'm asking, like on the FBM side, for those people that are using FBM or in some cases seller fulfilled prime, another benefit of using something like this is not everyone wants to ship FBM to every location in the US. Like I know when I was working previously with a brand, we set up FBM, but we would only do FBM to, let's say if we were in California, only to, let's say, the kind of West Coast states. Otherwise, the cost to ship gets exorbitant. And so that's another potential use of this, is just to have that information. And then the other one I was going to say that was thinking about while you're talking is there's the whole side of this, which is actually not sending the traffic to Amazon. If you know that your product does better in Texas or New York or whatever, in theory, you could that might tell you some kind of, insider information. Hey, I should run ads in just New York to drive back to my direct to consumer site because it looks like I'm getting better conversion for some reason in that area. And so that's kind of another, I don't know if that's going to be a use case, but that's definitely where my mind goes as well.
Yeah. So I think like, for me right now, I'm like just trying to get like the general concept out there, and then like the tool, right? And then I think people are going to come up with 100 different ways to use this tool, right? It's just better. You're just getting better information than if you're just using one of the bigger tools, single keyword tracker that's only like using data from one location.
Right. So how do you, I know this is a kind of a loaded question, but like, how do you prove that like this works, like that you actually are, like, I don't know if you guys are extrapolating on data that you do have to make assumptions, and I know you can't give us all your, secret sauce here, but like, how do you actually kind of validate to potential customers that this is something that is real and actually works for them?
Yeah. So I mean, like, just in general, right? Like GeoRank itself, like it's easily proven by, like you said, like going on, like just switching the zip code when you're searching on
Sure.
Amazon, and you'll see like different, products ranked differently based on zip code. I mean, Amazon itself they don't use the term GeoRank, right? But they, there's multiple, there's a CNBC article, a Routers article, that's pretty much state like, hey, yeah, like this is what we're doing. We are showing customers, products that are closer to them, right? Essentially,
Yeah, for sure.
paraphrasing. So, um, and yeah, so essentially, right? I mean, we do have like there's several, case studies that show that like focusing, like geo targeting on certain locations, does raise the rank. But yeah, essentially, right? It's just like because Amazon is saying all this, right? Anyway, right? It's only it's also just very logical. Like, okay, if I generate demand in this area, Amazon's going to send more inventory to this area,
Hmm.
and because they say they're showing customers products that are closer to them, like my products are going to start showing up higher in ranks.
Yeah, totally makes sense. So I'm curious, like, especially with your, background and kind of in your other business, Guava listings with like a lot of the SEO related stuff and whatnot. Do you kind of see like, is there a good crossover? And I know this is again loaded question. I know there's crossover, but like, what is the crossover that you see using potentially GeoRank to kind of help with some of that information that you're going to use to optimize listings or kind of tailor them maybe to, I don't know if you
Yeah,
actually change what you're displaying on the listing based on this information or not. Again, maybe it's too early
yeah.
to say.
So I mean, for definitely like, there's things that you can do with the SEO that will help. I think with so for example, right, in my in Guava's like ongoing SEO subscription, we have this thing called SEO level 3, which will need to be tweaked for this, right? Because that was developed using just, one, like a keyword tracker that is just showing one location rank. So we do need to we are working on tweaking that. However, the concept, right? So the SEO level 3 in that is essentially, right, you're finding keywords that you're ranked like 20 through 50 on that would be valuable to be ranking higher on, and then you're repeating them through the listing. So having what of course you're not going to have every single one in the title because there's only so much room, but having white water bottle in the title, in the bullet points, in the product description, in the A plus content plain text, in the A plus content alt text, just as many places as you can have.
Mm,
And then repeating them, right? Which is different from launch, of course, right? When you want to have as many unique keyword phrases as possible. But once you hit a certain SEO level, and there's other requirements for this to be able to have an effect, but that's kind of it in a nutshell. So,
yeah,
but
yeah.
but what I'm the way I'm looking at modifying this as we get this tool rolled out and more people start using it would be just, okay, let's say you're focused on Texas, and then it's these 6 keywords that are ranked 20 through 50 in Texas that you want to get up to 1 through 10, hopefully. So then using that, so of course, like, I don't want to like say that just doing SEO is going to be the only thing that's going to help it, right? Of course, you definitely need to generate demand with various geo-targeted marketing techniques. But the SEO could be that next
Yeah, the
little boost
boost.
that helps you. Yeah. So yeah.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's really cool. So will the geo rank, it's gonna be, will it kind of be like a dashboard style view where you can actually see the geo rank for a specific keyword level, or is it gonna, I would assume, it's at the keyword level, or is it for just like the
Yeah.
product level, you'll be able to see where you have the best ranking?
So yeah, it'll be like, so essentially, right, it's there's going to be like a desktop application, and then there's going to be like a like kind of like a site that you will get the keyword reports from in CSVs. You upload that to your application, right? And then the CSVs are based on keyword, but then yeah, you input your ASIN, these keyword reports, and then it kind of shows you all these different ways to view and slice and dice the data.
Yeah, that's really cool. No, I love that. What about on the, I guess on like the areas where there's, well, where there you might be ranked lower, or the keywords that you're ranked lower. Do you foresee that as being like a bigger overall gain versus focusing on the areas where you are ranked higher? Like, I guess, do you know what the 80/20, well, like the 80/20 is in terms of
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Like, should
So
I be, if I'm using just signed up, should I be using it immediately to go and target those areas where I'm ranking poorly, or maybe in the mid range, or do you think I should go and utilize it on the other side?
Yeah, so I think it really depends. Like if you're ranking, and these just like, rank changes, has, obviously it changes like day to day. There is going to be some variance, right? But if you are ranking, 1 through 5, consistently in a certain location, you're probably like, there's not much more else that you can do. Maybe if you are like 10 through 15, that's kind of where you can like, okay, let's get the 10 through 15s or 10 through 20s. Let's get them into the top 10, the top 5 first, right? And then focus on, then maybe the 20 through 30s, like trying to get all those into, because yeah, you can kind of like, of course, like, yeah, your marketing budget's not infinite. And you definitely have to kind of pick and choose like what you're doing. But I think like that's overall like what we're recommending is, yeah, like, okay, first try to double down on ones that are really close to being in the top 10, top 5, and then kind of just systematically
Trickle. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and it's gonna be cool, I think, too, for you guys. I know you're just kind of getting launched here, but just seeing what your users end up actually doing with it, right? Because like you said,
yeah.
I'm sure that there's a lot of things that we're not even, well, at least I'm not thinking about yet, that are probably
Yeah.
going to be amazing strategies with
Yeah,
this.
seasonality, like items that are seasonal, right? Let's say you're selling a bathing suit. So instead of just, I mean, obviously, like, yeah, that,
Yeah,
places like Texas and Florida and California can still be buying during the winter, but
sure.
getting super, right? Because it's not just, I'm just using those, like, your rank's not the same across all of Texas. It could be different in Austin and Dallas and Houston. So it's like really
Right.
getting like super, super hyper focused on, okay, like, well, we're doing really good in Dallas, but we're not doing so great in Houston, and we're doing amazing in Miami, but Orlando is still kind of mid-range, so it's like
Yeah.
just
Like
getting really, really.
I'm going to be much more likely to sell like boat products in Florida versus if I'm in Oklahoma, you know what I mean? Like, or gardening is obviously going to be different and different types of plants in different parts of the country. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways that you can look at that. Okay, I'm going to have to think about this too, because it's making me think about some of the products I still sell. That's really cool. So I want to kind of transition into what is like known to be our controversial take section. I normally ask to kick this off, Eddie, do you think that pineapple belongs on pizza, or is it a travesty?
I'm from New Jersey, man. So yeah, no.
Okay, nice. It's so New Jersey, and then the other one is anytime have an Italian on this, it's like no, I cannot even say the word pineapple like on this. Pineapple not should not be
Yeah,
close to
no,
pizza.
it's I mean, look, people enjoy what they enjoy, but no, it's not for me. And I like crazy, I crazy toppings, buffalo chicken, chicken bacon ranch, that kind of stuff. That's all good, but pineapple is like.
Nice. Well, thanks for answering. So the reason I'm asking, obviously, is I normally like to ask all of our guests what's a debatable or kind of a controversial topic, maybe something that you have a contrarian view to the rest of the industry on. Yeah, where do you zig that other people might zag?
Yeah, I mean, so I do think that, I mean, and we've seen it a little bit already, but I do think there's going to be a lot of thought leaders that may dismiss Geo-Rank, and it's I don't want to make many enemies or anything, but it's because their tools are not, they haven't found an economical way to display all the different ranks for the different parts of the country, so they have no real incentive to
Want to make
get behind it,
want
even
to
though
make you guys
it's
successful.
very, yeah. So it's and then like other people, they're, you're gonna have to rethink your strategies here, right? So all these people that have been teaching it one way for so long, to go back and redo their systems and their SOPs and what they're teaching, it's going to be a lot of work and effort. And so therefore I anticipate some people kind of dismissing it, or even getting angry with me. I don't know, but
Well, I won't get angry with you, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Change is sometimes hard, and it's sometimes easier to try to be dismissive of that's not going to work out. But the reality is, like, you should, just like I always talk to people about, like, if a new Amazon program comes out, don't dismiss it. You should immediately jump on it, because like either it's going to become a lot harder to get into, like when we see sponsored videos come out or Amazon posts is a thing. It's like you should be there and like go test it out. It might not be for your type of product in the long run, but like it's better to test it and at least validate it for yourself and make sure that it works or doesn't work for you, rather than just dismissing it, because then you might be missing out on a huge opportunity. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Exactly. I think this is, I think this could be like the biggest thing from sliced bread in the Amazon world. Honestly, it's just, and it's not, people, there are people who've known this, it's been around since 2018. It's just there's like been no real practical way to get all of all across the country, get all of them, get all the data, until now, through my partner who's developed the tool.
Yeah. I mean, if you guys, you're able to bring, like you said at the beginning, if you have that data, it gives you a whole new vector to kind of attack the market on from, right? And do all kinds of cool new things. So yeah, of course you're going to shake things up and, probably annoy a couple people while doing that. But if you guys have a good product, and it sounds like you do, then you should, like, that's what the world's all about. So I love that. I want to just, first of all, this, kind of brings us to the end of the show, Eddie, but I wanted to say first, thanks for coming on the show. It's been, for me, I've gotten to know you over the last, I guess, 6 months, 8 months. I don't even know how long it's been, but it's awesome to have you on the show. So thank you so much for taking the time. I want to kind of turn things around to you, obviously, and just give you a chance to kind of tell people, for anyone who's interested in either Geo-Rank or Guava listings or something else, where can they connect with you? What's the best place to get in touch?
Yeah. So yeah, just go to guavalistings.com. We have a GeoRank newsletter that we're doing. So I do believe that the link might be on somewhere applicable on this episode, but we'll also have it on the site. GeoRank's new, so I'm still kind of updating the site with that kind of stuff. So yeah, guavalistings.com, or you can just email me directly, eddie@guavalistings.com. And yeah, so just check out our site, get signed up for the GeoRank newsletter, which will give you, and I'll be using that, right? Like for anything new that people come up with this is what I'm gonna use that newsletter to kind of just give you all the latest updates on it. And then yeah, you'll get by signing up for that newsletter. I'll also be hosting a webinar at some point. All the information for that will be distributed through the newsletter. And yeah, of course, we also do, the classic like listing optimization and SEO things. So you can check those those services out as well, because yeah, you don't want to throw a bunch of money in a marketing campaign if your conversion rate is, if your click-through rate or your conversion rate is not as high as it could be. So we can help you with that, and as well, all the SEO stuff.
Yeah, we focused on the sexy new thing, which is Geo-Rank, but obviously Geo-Rank and all the insights and benefits are only going to help you if your listing's optimized. So, that should be kind of ground zero. So, yeah, I just want to tell anyone who's listening or watching this, Eddie and the Guava listings team are great. So definitely reach out to those guys, and really excited to see what happens in Geo-Rank. We're definitely going to have you back in like 6 months or something like that, so you can kind of give us a status report too. I'm really excited to see what happens. So
yeah, definitely. Hopefully I have a whole bunch of new things and strategies that I can talk about in relation to the Geo-Rank.
Love it. Cool. Well, that's going to be it for the episode. Thanks to everyone who is watching, listening, what have you. Go check out Geo-Rank, go check out Guava listings. And again, all of the notes, any of the kind of things that we brought up, any links, ways to get in touch with Eddie, we'll put down below in the show notes, or links, description, etc. So that is it. Thanks again, Eddie, for being here. And cheers, everyone. Signing off.
Thank you.
All right. So that brings us to the end of this episode today, joined by Eddie from Guava listings and Geo-Rank. Really, really cool episode. I hope that you guys got some kind of value out of this episode. And I know that we're all kind of waiting on pins and needles for the new release of Geo-Rank. So make sure you stay tuned. All of the links, everything we mentioned, is going to be down below in either the show notes if you're listening to this podcast somewhere, or in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. And as always, if you did find some kind of value in today's discussion, we kindly request that you rate, review this podcast, or leave a thumbs up, or some kind of comments on YouTube as well. All of that feedback really does help us reach more e-commerce and Amazon enthusiasts just like yourself. Last but not least, don't forget to follow us on social media. You're going to get behind the scenes content, updates from our team, and a lot more there. So you can find all the links again down below. And that's going to bring us to the end of today's episode. So hope you enjoyed it. Mark your calendars. We'll be back next week for another awesome one. Until then, my name is Ben Smith again. I'm your host, signing off here and wishing you all happy selling.